That is true. And apart from that, I think this is not just a one-off problem. This is a systemic issue because all the governments, especially in West Africa, have been encouraging increase in production of RCM,
Yes.
right? So while demand has been growing, supply has been growing faster.
Yes.
So at some point, it will have to, the steps will have to be taken to see how to get these two in line.
Either they have to go for domestic consumption. That's not happening much. And
Yeah.
processing, other than IBC, not much happening. See, even Nigeria, they are not able to sell their RCN. They are not getting proper import facility. Port facility is also not up to the mark. They
Very
are
true.
not getting good price, but
Yeah.
they are not taking steps to increase the processing. So that
True.
is the problem.
This has been
Benin
the
also
ongoing
not
problem in
successful.
Africa.
Benin also not successful. They are in the midst. They don't
Yeah.
know what to do. At
Hmm.
least by the year of ASEAN, they would have got good price. But
Yeah.
now everything is washed out, and we don't know when they will announce that starting of the export.
True.
So everywhere some issues are there.
This has in fact been an ongoing problem in Africa. You see, Africa has more than 40% of the world's natural resources.
Okay, okay.
And if you look at it, the transformation of commodities is very limited in Africa.
Yes.
It's just, digging or drilling or whatever it is or growing and
Okay,
sending
okay.
it overseas. Not just in cashew. You take even petroleum, you take anything else. There's very limited value addition and processing being
Value
done.
addition, yes. The same
Yeah.
also the same case.
Correct.
Value addition is very less.
Yeah.
So maybe it will take some time.
It will take some time. And also in West Africa, at least, people are not used to switching crops very quickly. You take in
Yes.
Guinea-Bissau, for example, 83% of the families here depend directly or indirectly on cashew.
Cashew, yes.
And, just because of one or two bad years, they are not the kind of people who will cut the trees and plant rubber or, do something else.
Okay.
That culture is not there. So it is going to be a big problem for the government here if they don't take steps. I mean, the best thing they can do is encourage processing.
Okay.
I mean, at least put some framework in place that encourages people to invest in processing. I don't see that
They have
happening.
to
Right now.
encourage investment in processing, and they have to do at a competitive rate. Then only you can sustain in this one.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they need to encourage domestic consumption. So
that will, I think, take some time.
all has to do simultaneously, then only you can get some kind of hold on that one.
You take a country like Burkina Faso, they are very dynamic people. So they will find a lot of the chickies and toffees and all that they sell. And even the girl in the market or in the Boromo bus station, she will come and tell you this is good for your health, so buy it. So they are good into that kind of marketing. But I don't see that kind of dynamism in a lot of other countries in Africa, where people will actually push local products. Senegal is another good example. They started growing local price, quite significant quantities. I mean, imports used to be 1.2 million tons. It has gone down to 700,000 tons now.
Okay.
They encourage the local consumption. They have a lot of fairs, exhibitions, all that sort of thing.
Yes.
So let's see how it goes.
Okay, so we will wait for another 5 minutes because one
Sure.
by one delegates are joining. By 3:30, we'll start that one.
I'm online, so no
Yes,
issues.
sir. Just I want to verify whether you are able to connect or not.
Yes, seems to be good today.
Yes, sir.
I think internet gods are smiling on us, so that's okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We'll continue after some time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. What is that? Is my water bottle? I can This is yours or what? Okay, I kept it here. What is mine?
That is yours only. This is yours only. That is, I told my wife to go and the bottle is just.
It's okay.
Put it up on the door. Here.
Just a minute, I will tell. I think 11. 9 participants so far. Hmm? Hmm.
Parent ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡೋ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ
ನೋಡಿ.
John Brown.
Hello, am I speaking to Dr. Mukherjee, sir? So this is program here, and I'm calling from Cashew India Biotechnology. I sent
Hello, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Now we wait for some more time for the other delegates to join.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, sorry, good morning. This is in
I am,
this is in
I
English.
am, okay, I am Mota, Antonio Mota.
Hello. Uh,
Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. I am Venkatraman from cashewinformation.com. It's a great pleasure to invite you all to this year's Trade Talk Series 2. Now we are going to discuss about the ongoing Guinea-Bissau cashew season. Now I would like to introduce our speaker, Mr. John Rao. Mr. John Rao is an engineer and he has done his MBA. He is based in West Africa. He is the managing director of Bijagos Commercials SARL Guinea-Bissau and has been trading agri-commodities for over 2 decades. We encourage all the delegates who are participating in this forum to use the chat facility to ask questions which will be taken up at the end of the presentation. Now I invite Mr. John Rao. Over to Mr. John Rao.
Thank you, Venkat. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody, different parts of the world. Nice to see so many participants here. And I guess there is excitement because we have reached pretty much the end of the northern cycle. We are in Guinea-Bissau, which is the last stop on the northern cycle. Okay, so let us get into a few points that I'd like to make, because this is a good time to recap what's been happening. And then we can move on to the questions, which I'm sure is what you're waiting for. Yeah, can we start the, can we roll the presentation, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Venkat, have we started the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Okay. Okay, so here we are, nice small PowerPoint in green color, signifying our own agro-commodities business. Guinea-Bissau, we are on the last stop of the northern crops, like I told you. The season was declared open around 14th of May. So we are 10 days or 9 days into the season. What does this hold and what can we look forward to? Let's see. Let's take a brief recap of what happened last season first. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah. Season 2022 was pretty tumultuous. In brief, there was a delay in issuing the export licenses. This resulted in a lot of cargo being held at the bush level without drying for a long period. And later in the year, when we went on to processes in India and other places, they complained of yellowish tinge on the nuts, because on the kernels, because of this rather long holding period without drying. So I think the government has been very proactive this year. They've announced the season very early. They've set the rules very early. And but then there are other bottlenecks in the season, as we will see when we go along. Last season also was marked by a very high freight rate. I think $260 per ton is something we had never seen. And but then post-COVID, the whole world was in a distorted state of affairs. So that's why there was this very high freight rate that also had a bit of an effect on the cashew trade last season. The other major issue was there are only 2 major processing countries in the world, Vietnam and India. Yes, a good case can be made for encouraging processing in Africa, but that's a different topic altogether. And Vietnam, for whatever reasons, there are many reasons, did not buy very strongly in West Africa. So a lot of cargo that was destined for Vietnam ended up being diverted to India. So something like 400,000 tons of excess cargo was received from various West African origins in India. This naturally led to catastrophic conditions at the ports. Ports were overflowing with cargo. Warehouses had been taken up, difficult to find warehouses. Buyers disappeared from the West African markets. And a lot of exporters had to actually load cargo without sale, take it up to India, in some cases even clear the cargo locally with the help of local associates, and start selling in rupees. So there was a joke in West Africa that we stopped discussing prices in dollars now. We start discussing prices in rupees, duty-paid prices in rupees. So that was one of the major issues last year. The other issue was, in over 2 decades, we've never had any carryover stocks in Guinea-Bissau. Normally, all the stock gets finished by December. And for the first time in over 2 decades, we had significant stocks, about 35,000 tons of stock left that was unsold and unshipped. The government did take some steps to deal with this issue. They gave a 50% reduction on duties and taxes across the board to help evacuate last year's crop. And one good thing is the bulk of this quantity is held by one exporter. And I think after this reduction in duties, he has been able to start moving his stocks. So hopefully there will not be a lot of mixing of stocks from last season and this season. Can we go to the next slide, please? Like I said, the government has been proactive this year, but minimal pre-financing has gone into the bush. Last year, a lot of people lost a lot of money in the bush. That coupled with the uncertainty in prices, not much pre-financing has been given in the bush this year. And the government set a price of 250 CFR as the floor price. Normally, this is very rigorously enforced. Even as late as last week, the Commerce Minister had called a meeting of exporters and emphasized that we should respect this price. The problem is the market decides the price on its own, and the market right now is lower than 250. In a lot of places, trades are happening at 250 in the bush, some other places at 200, and I think the trend is downward right now. There is a difference in the cost between the bush and getting it to Bissau, not just transport. There are a number of other taxes and other costs involved. So normally we go by what is called the weighbridge price in Bissau. And the weighbridges were declared open on the 14th of May. And the intermediaries and the other agents who had brought the trucks to Bissau were asking for a price of 375, which I think was totally unworkable. Practically no trades happened at that level, except for some people who had pre-financed and therefore had to pick up cargo. Prices in the past 9 or 10 days have fallen to about 330 levels. This is still considered high by some people, so the market is still quite dull. We don't see any large rush for people going to buy at these levels. However, some rice has started going to the bush as pre-finance. Normally, a huge quantity of rice should have gone to the bush by now, but this year the flow has just started. And the barter rate is going for one bag of 50 kilos of rice is going for 84 kilos of RCN. And let us see how that develops, whether that goes up or down in the near future. Yeah, next slide, please. Regarding duties and taxes, the government has, I would say, really made a great effort. You must keep in mind that about 83% of the population of Guinea-Bissau depends directly or indirectly on the cashew trade. And even the government depends on the cashew revenue to finance a large part of its budget. So it's always difficult for a government to, cut down on duties and taxes. But I must say the government has made a good effort this year. In the first case, the reference price used to calculate duties and taxes is called the Bas Tributaria in Guinea-Bissau. It was $1,050 last year. That has been reduced to $900 this year, which itself is a good effort by the government. Additionally, a number of other taxes have been tweaked. A number of other taxes have been reduced or even eliminated. For example, the 5 CFR charged by Anka has been eliminated. Other taxes that were 50 CFR have come down to 40 CFR and all. So overall, you can say there's a difference of about $42 in the costing, which is quite a significant reduction by the government. And can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, the problem is this effort by the government has been totally offset by the huge increase in freight rates. I mean, CMA CGM was the first one to announce their freight rates. It would seem really there's no logical reason why they increased freight rates by about 35% for the season. Okay, which works out to about $230 per ton, which is really unworkable under current conditions. But the government has held a meeting with the shipping line people. I think the government has taken it up rather strongly with them. And we hope these rates will be revised downwards. Meanwhile, MSC has still not given us the final rate. I repeat, MSC has not declared the final rate, but the indications are that it will work out to around $135 per ton, which I think is a lot more reasonable. Ship charterers, vessel charterers have also been in touch with us, and we have offers in the range of $130, might go down to $120. Let us see how that market develops. Next slide, please. Yeah. Coming to the crop size, we expect a good crop this year. The rains have been good, the weather has been good. Crop has developed very well, no major wind. blowing away the flowers. As in the case of last year, we expect the crop size to be about 280,000 tons to about 300,000 tons this year. As you know, about 30 to 40,000 tons normally flows across the border. The minister is aware of this, Commerce Minister, and he wants to take it up strictly this year. He's been calling up various people involved in cross-border trade and warning them to stop it. So let us see how well the cross-border trade is controlled this year. But the crop size, we think, will be about the same as last year. That is about 280,000 tons to 300,000 tons. The initial reports are, and these are very initial reports, that the outturn is slightly lower this year. But these are only the initial lots that have come. It's really when the flow starts that we will know if the outturn is actually down slightly by about half a point or no. Moisture is a bit higher this year. So I think everybody, buyers as well as exporters, need to take care to ensure that the crop is dried well. Cargo is dried well before loading. I mean, this is something processors always keep emphasizing, not just for the dryness, not just for the humidity issues, but also for the whiteness and things like that. I think we need to start focusing a lot more on these quality aspects in West Africa also, specifically in Guinea-Bissau. Next slide, please. So what is the current outlook? Okay, thankfully, the 400,000 tons of excess goods that landed up in India have been used, have been consumed. Plus, India in some parts had a drop in crop last year. So thankfully, this quantity has been consumed and or at least processed. And the problem is right now, processors are blocked with high inventories in India. And all of them say they would like to buy new crop, but the money is stuck in inventory. Kernel movement has slowed down, as we know. And so once kernel movement starts, then we will be able to see maybe some movement in ASEAN, especially in Guinea-Bissau. The other issue is the uncertainty in terms of prices. I mean, when everybody feels the prices are on a downward trend, nobody wants to be caught with high-priced goods. And as a result of which, people are looking at only short-term positions. Nobody wants to take long-term positions. And this is also slowing down the sale of the crop. One more issue specific to India is that a lot of parts in India have had a bumper crop this year, especially Orissa and Andhra, Palasa, these kinds of places. And they've had a very good crop. In fact, I have not seen any Andhra buyers in West Africa this year. And they've had a good crop at their end. So that is also another factor. Our Vietnamese friends, and I see some of them are participating today, they have been complaining that there is still no parity between the ASEAN prices and the kernel prices. This is an issue to be worked on. And in fact, a lot of the Vietnamese buyers have been saying this is a major roadblock for them that has prevented them from really aggressively buying in West Africa. So the other problem is kernel prices have been driven down. Probably the processors are holding, large inventories, and they need to get rid of their inventories. They need to move their goods. So it's a kind of a stuck in the well situation. Let us hope kernel prices pick up, and maybe ASEAN prices stabilize, and then we can, have some kind of parity in the market. Next slide, please. So finally, what is the conclusion? It is still early days, only 9 days since the season was declared open in Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau is the last crop on the northern cycle. So yes, this is the last chance to get a good quality crop. Let us see how the season develops. A lot of buyers have come into Guinea-Bissau. They are all sitting there. Right now, they have a wait and watch attitude, but I'm sure the buying will start shortly because the rains will also be starting in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So the buying will also start shortly. And of course, as always, all of us working and living in Africa, we're all optimists. So we all hope we'll have a good season. And I wish all of you a good season too. With this, I throw it open to any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jandro, for such a wonderful presentation. Now we move on to the question and answer section.
Mr. John,
Yes.
kernel is slow in movement, as you said.
Yes.
Is it the effect of recession? It is an indication
I would say
as
it's
a
partly
discretionary item.
definitely consumption in the US has gone down, and that is the biggest. But then that should not really affect a lot of the Indian processes, because the US is mainly supplied by Vietnam.
Okay, okay.
And China consumption seems to be down. And but I think more of it is due to uncertainty in the markets. You know, last year a lot of people got caught with high price stocks, and a lot of people lost a lot of money last year. So I think
Okay.
people are being very cautious in terms of purchases.
Hello, one question from Mr. Mudit Tiwari. What is the quality expected to come in the first flow?
We expect 53 to 20. That is the norm. The difference is in earlier years, it was very common to receive even up to 55, 56 outturn also. And we are seeing less of that right now. But like I said, this is early days yet. Not much of crop is still come into Bissau. So once we have the real flow, we will know if it has really gone down or if these were just exceptional lots.
Next question from Mr. Srinivas Vittal. He has mentioned that one is on the moisture. Since rains have already hit Bissau, how do you expect well-dried RCN to be exported?
You know, there is one thing about Bissau. Just like in India, we have a saying that there will be at least 5 minutes of rain on Diwali day. It is interesting in Bissau, sometime in the second half of May, we normally have one shower. And I think that is the one shower that you saw a few days ago. The rains are still not frequent at all. I mean, in fact, we don't expect frequent rains till the middle or the end of June. So there is a good window to dry goods.
So what is the final estimate of this year crop size in Bissau? Because you have mentioned around 280,000 to 300,000 tons. Is it
That
the
will be
same
good.
last year also?
Yes, this was the same last year also. We expect the same or slightly higher this year. It depends on how much of the newly planted trees have come into fruiting. And that we will know only as we reach the end of the season. But definitely, we expect the crop to be at least the same size as last year. Just for your reference, last year, about 200,000 tons were exported from the port of Guinea-Bissau. And about 30 to 40,000 tons must have gone across the border, at least 40,000 tons. And we had about 30, 35,000 tons left over in Bissau towards the end of the season. So all in all, 185, 285, 300,000 tons. So we have those kinds of, we're looking at the same kinds of quantities.
Okay. Next question from Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Has MNC announced their freight rates? How likely is CMA, CGM to reduce theirs? At this rate, I would expect most cargo to flow to Jinjar.
At this rate, we would expect most cargo to float to
Jigunjar. I think-
Ziginshore. Yeah.
Yes, Jigunshore.
Yes, the exfiltration or the smuggling of cargo to Ziginshore is an issue. Already a lot of cargo, I will not say a lot of cargo, but a good quantity of cargo has gone to Ziginshore and has been purchased by people out there. In fact, there were rumors, unconfirmed, that one or two companies in Guinea-Bissau had even set up field offices in Ziginshore just to take goods across the border. In fact, these rumors were so strong, the minister called a meeting last week to find out if this is what is happening. Then the concerned companies said no, that these are just rumors. And every year we have about 40,000 tons flowing down across the borders, not just to the Senegal side, Ziginshore and Simbandi and the other Salikeni and the other areas, but even to the Guinea-Conakry side through the Bokeh border. Let us see, the minister seems to be quite keen to control the border exfiltration. How successful he will be, we will be able to tell towards the end of the season. But every year, the fact is about at least 40,000 tons has gone across the borders. Number one. Coming to the freight issues. CMA and CGM were the first ones to announce the rate increase, the confirmed rate increase, which obviously was not at all appreciated by the exporters, and the whole all the stakeholders, I would say, in Guinea-Bissau. And it was taken up, the trade associations took this up with the government. And this year, the government is being very proactive. The Deputy Prime Minister seated a commission. They went through the whole thing. They had a meeting with the shipping lines and strongly urged them to be reasonable in their rates. So I think CMA will definitely be revising the rates downwards. Meanwhile, MSC, which just re-entered Bissau last year towards the end of the season, as can be seen, I think worldwide, MSC has become very aggressive this year. We all know the huge investments they made in new haulage capacity. And in West Africa also, they're very bullish. We have spoken to the MSC directors from Senegal, as well as their local representative, Ajimar. And they're all very positive about this season. They have assured us that they will give us significantly reduced rates. And the rumor flying around is about $3,600 for a 40-foot box. Well, let us see. I mean, maybe these are hopes. Let us see if it works out or no. The bulk freights, as I told you, quotations we are getting in the range of $130, $120. So let us see how that works out too.
Okay, one more question from Gautam Vijay. Does Bissau exports its whole 230 tons, metric tons to be sold out, and by when?
Frankly, I think that since the government has opened the season early, I think there are good chances that we can start moving the goods. Prices are also significantly down compared to last year. Now, the whole issue is it going to be in parity with kernel prices? Now, kernel prices have been moving down, I think, more due to maybe desperation sales, because a lot of processors have been holding a lot of stocks. How long can you just keep holding stock, right? So it's a very dynamic situation right now. And I think at least 200,000 to 20,000 tons should move out. Let us see, the 35, 40,000 tons that were left over last year. Let's hope that that doesn't happen this year. To be seen. Watch this space.
Could you please chat your mail ID,
Mr. Rao,
Mr. John, on chat
Yeah,
board?
sure. Let me put it in the chat.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Amit, I've sent it across.
The next question from Mr. Giri Srivatsava. How much
Yes.
crop is going to be processed locally in Guinea-Bissau?
I doubt even 5 to 10,000 tons is going to be processed locally in Guinea-Bissau. We have 4 or 5 factories that are that can be active, but none of them is functioning to the full capacity. A lot of other factories are not really in a state right now to start processing. So I seriously doubt more than 10 or 15,000 tons will be processed locally. I must make a mention here that apart from the so-called 4 or 5 bigger factories that are reasonably organized, or I wouldn't say semi-mechanized, but mechanized to a certain extent, there are a whole number of informal cashew processing units dotting the whole countryside across Bissau. But they will do minimal quantities, I mean, a few thousand tons, not more. This is the cashew that will be sold at the crossroads, at the streets and things like that. And the better quality is sold in the supermarkets and all, processed locally.
Over to Mr. Shaurav Ghosh. You can ask your question.
yes, good afternoon, Mr. Rao. My question is, what do you expect? What would be the CNF cost of the Guinea-Bissau crop to India, especially to Tuticorin or to the Vizag port? What would be the expected cost around?
You mean the expected CNF prices?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, right now the prices I think are quite low in India. They started off at 1,200 maybe about a month ago, down to around 1,100 levels now. And you must remember, as far as the prices are concerned, especially in the beginning of the season, there can be variances up to $100 between 2 people buying at the same time. This would depend on, payment terms, advance terms, quality norms, CNF, FOB, a lot of other factors like these. But the price, I think, right now is around 1,100. People say going lower. But the important thing is, even at these levels, we don't see a lot of buying interest. Partly due to, like I said, kernel blockage in India, partly due to other factors, partly due to people expecting prices to go lower.
Yes,
So I think in a
that's-
week, we'll have clarity.
yes, that's correct. Yeah, there is a bit of uncertainty this side
Yeah.
in our local markets because the processors, they are not getting very confident. They are expecting as they are going to book is 1,100 or
Yes.
whatever around that, and it may go down and then they will face the losses. And
Correct.
so right now is the 1,050 to 1,010 or
Yeah, I've heard of some people signing pre-finance contracts even at around 1,000, 1,020 levels.
Okay.
And the issue is not if this is a workable price or not. A lot of people would like to get the advances and even lose a bit of money on the first contract so that they can get the season going. And then they would hope to make up, the future contracts. So it all depends on the strategy of each exporter and each buyer.
and as for the logistics,
Yes.
what do you see? What are the chances to leave the first cargo ship from the Guinea-Bissau, or what are the chances of the cross-border trade? To
The cross-border trade is always an issue in Guinea-Bissau. Some years the government has been quite successful in controlling it. They've, they had offered cash incentives to the customs officers who and the border patrol, the Guardia Nacional, who have captured these trucks. I mean, the truck is captured, the goods are sold, auctioned, and immediately 20 to 30% is given as incentive to the team that caught these goods. So that was a very effective policy, but then it worked out for a year or two. It was taken out of place. And then other years, the government has provided motorcycles and agents from the Commerce Ministry to check exfiltration of goods. And all in all, it is difficult to control movement across the borders. Senegal has been very effective in this. Senegal is a very interesting case. They allow goods to come in from Guinea-Bissau, but don't allow goods to move beyond from Senegal to the Gambia, because they want to develop the port of Ziguinchor. And as can be seen by the export figures from the ports of Banjul and Ziguinchor, Ziguinchor has been picking up huge volumes in terms of cashew cargo. So yes, they're trying. The minister is very keen to stop the exfiltration of cashew. Let us see how it works out. But the reality is that 30 to 40,000 tons does go across every year.
So the next question is, any government initiative to promote cashew processing in Guinea-Bissau?
Unfortunately, no. There is no special framework. There are no issues. There are a number of issues. We've discussed them in various forums, including with Cashew Week earlier. And in fact, I would say encouraging processing in Guinea-Bissau is much more important for the government than, let's say, encouraging processing in Ivory Coast for the Ivory Coast government. You see, Ivory Coast has many revenue streams, even in terms of agriculture. Guinea-Bissau, 83% of the families depend directly or indirectly on the cashew trade. It is a very small country, very small population, quite a poor country, in fact, in terms of the United Nations statistics. So really, this country needs processing industry because it's got such an abundant supply of cashew, of raw cashew nut. And we do hope the government puts in a good framework. There are a number of local entrepreneurs who are ready to invest in the cashew processing units, but they need a little bit of encouragement. I would not even say subsidy. I would not even say any major things like that, but they need help with a global framework that will at least ensure that they have a fighting chance to survive and that they're not wiped out. Just one small issue on this, since we are talking about it. I mean, the bank rates, commercial rates are anything between 16 to 18%, practically. No doubt the bank card rate would be 8%, 10%, 12%. But when you add down all the other charges and things like that, it works out to 18%. Now, if you want to do processing in Guinea-Bissau, even for 10 months in the year, you need to buy your 10-month inventory in that 6 to 8 week window, which is when the crop is available in Guinea-Bissau. And if you're going to carry your inventory for 6 to 8 months at an interest rate of 18%, it's just not workable. So the government needs to, work out some structural solutions for these kinds of problems. And the business risk, of course, the entrepreneurs are ready to take. So I think that was what has to be done. about processing.
The next question from Mr. Prakash Kalbavi. Last year, the port bottleneck was acute and took a long time to ship out cargo. Exporters are planning most exports from Dagar this year. Is anything being done to ease this congestion?
In a word, nothing has been done as yet. I mean, there are the usual minimal port improvements that are being done. Has there been any dredging done? No. No dredging has been done in over 50 years at the port. Has there been any extension of quays? No. All these proposals are lying there as proposals, but there are no concrete steps taken to move it forward. The African Bank African de Development has given a major grant, I think, for the extension of the port, but that is, I would say, a medium-term project. Definitely, you're not going to see any major effects of that in this season. And the only hope we have is that the shipping lines will put in more vessels and evacuate cargo quicker. And that way, yes.
So in most of the African markets, the ASEAN prices are dipping below. Hello,
Yes.
the ASEAN prices are dipping below 1,000 per metric ton. Do you anticipate market in Guinea-Bissau dipping further?
Very good chances, I would say. By the end of next week, we should know where we are. But I think there are good chances it will dip below $1,000.
Okay. Any questions from the delegates? Sir, is old crop last year stock is still out? Is sold out completely?
Last year's stock is not sold out completely. I would say there is about 10 to 15,000 tons still stuck in the bush. One has to be careful about mixing of those goods with the new crop goods. However, the bulk of it is already in Bissau. About 25,000 tons is already in Bissau, already with just one exporter. And he has already got his contracts in place. The government has already given them, given all the exporters of old crop significant discount of 50% across the board on all duties and taxes. He has started evacuating the goods. It may take him some time because I think he uses the route of shipping from here to, he uses a small vessel to ship goods in bulk from Guinea-Bissau to Ziguinchor Shore or to Dakar. And so it will take him a bit of time, but I think it's all centralized in one place. So hopefully that those goods will not go and get mixed with new crop. And the little quantity that is left in the bush, frankly speaking, 10, 15,000 tons is not a big quantity. But yes, definitely somebody who's holding it would not want to throw it off, would want to mix it. So I think everybody who's got the quality inspectors in Guinea-Bissau, you need to be a bit alert about the mixing issue.
Any other questions from the delegates? So one more question from Ranjan Das. Do you expect any other shipping line to operate this year?
We don't expect any other shipping line to operate this year, but we do expect maybe some small possibilities from Senegal. Every year, there are at least 2 or 3 small shipping lines from Senegal who come in, offer to provide a feeder service, of either containers or bulk from the port of Bissau to the port of Dakar, and then reship goods on various, on the other bigger lines from there. So, so far it has not worked out, but people are very interested. The DP World themselves had come down last year. They were keen on starting a feeder service from Bissau. And so let us see if they come in this year. But as of now, you're going to have only CMA, CGM, and MSC.
Sir, when the exports are going to start, sir? Any idea on that one?
In June, they should start in June. The first vessel should be in June for containers.
Okay. So one more question from Naseeb Singh. How much is the freight difference and transit time from Bissau port and Dagar port?
The freight difference is huge. I mean, I'm not sure of the freights this year, but last year it was in the range of about $70 per ton, while Bissau was $270 per ton. And this year, for example, from Guinea Conakry, I hear the freight rates are around $30–35 per ton. And comparatively, in Guinea-Bissau, even the lowest freights we are talking about is $135 per ton. The port is supposed to be very expensive. That is the complaint of the shipping lines. The port authorities on their part say it's a small port. We have a lot of expenses, and so we have higher rates. And probably there is not much cargo. The other port complications, as others have mentioned. But the fact is that the freight rates from Guinea-Bissau are very high.
I just hello.
Yes, sir, you can go on.
I just want to say something. Last year the freight was $130 per ton. This year CMA already published the freight rates is $215 per ton.
That is right. But like I had mentioned, the government had called a meeting of shipping line executives. I mean, all the trade associations in Guinea-Bissau had complained to the government that these freight rates are very high. So the government called a meeting of the shipping lines, and the shipping lines have promised to see if they can revise the freight rates downward. So we are still waiting for CMA to confirm if they're going to lower their freight rates or no. And MSC, like I told you, has not confirmed, but has given indications that their freight rates will be significantly lower. So that is where we are right now. We hope to get clarity in the next week or so.
So what is the transit time from Bissau port and Dagar port to India?
55 days normally.
Okay. From both the ports.
No, from which port? Bissau port and Dakar.
Dagar, yes.
Dakar is faster.
Dakar is faster. Okay.
Yes.
Bissau is 55 days. Dakar is how many days?
Dakar, I think, is about 10 days lesser. About
Okay.
45 days. As a reference, I think MSC has improved the transit times a lot this year. I heard associates in India saying that they received goods in 27 to 33 days. I think MSC had put some special Cashew Express vessels from IBC to India, and I think also from Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. And so, yes, they have given good transit times this year, at least from other ports, to be seen what happens with this port.
Okay.
I just want to clarify also something about this MSC. MSC the last year used Benin. Use port of Benin to transit in the
Yes.
cargo effectively take a lot of time to reach the origin.
Yes.
Even India
Last year
and
there were a lot of time.
yeah, a lot of time. So I not believe this can change for this year also, but we can see. I think CMA maybe it can do at least 55 days, like you say. Yeah.
Yes.
But MSC, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
In fact, to add to what you were saying, a lot of people complained about MSC's transit times last year. And not just that, they said the communication was not there. I mean, they're not able to track the cargo half the time. They're not able to get responses from the MSC office. So there were a lot of complaints last year. But this year, again, I specify this is from other ports, from IBC and Ghana. Apparently, the MSC service was okay this year. It remains to be seen what happens when they come down to Bissau port.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I do have one small question here.
Okay, you can continue.
What are the major exporters who have planning or who have started exporting RCN from Guinea-Bissau to India?
Could you repeat the question, please? I
Yeah.
didn't get it.
So who are the major exporters are working this year in Guinea-Bissau?
See, there is a list of, I think last year we had about 55 exporters. big and small. And there are about a dozen, 12 to 15 major exporters who export from Guinea-Bissau. The number of big companies, Cheta Guinea, Euroimpex, so many companies. The list is available freely at the Ministry of Commerce or at any shipping line. So there's no problem contacting them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Mr. Who is there? Mr. Wu, you can proceed with your question. Any more questions? I think he is not there. Any more questions?
Yep. I think we finished with the questions
Yes,
and
yes, sir.
right on time.
Yes,
So
sir,
very
yes,
good.
sir.
Maintaining good timing.
I think we have finished with the questionnaire session, and it's a great pleasure. Mr. Rao has answered all the questions in a detailed manner. Thank you, Mr. John Rao.
Most welcome. My pleasure.
Yes, sir. I hope with this we'll conclude this session.
Okay, so here's wishing everybody a good season and a good week ahead. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rao.
Thank you.
Hello? Hello? We have not received John Ross mail ID, sir.
We'll place the same, not an issue. And this thing will be there for another 5 minutes. Delegates can do their networkings for 5 more minutes.
Let me send out an open message to everyone.
Hello.
Venkat, could you
Hello.
put out my email ID, please?
Yes,
Not able
yes,
to
I
read.
will do that one, sir.
Okay, doc. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Paul?
Hello. Hi, dear. Yeah. Sorry for my question, which is out of context, but I'm calling from Côte d'Ivoire, and I'm currently listening about only kernels, but white wall nuts. But what I want to know is to get some opportunities to market the our finished products somewhere else, maybe in Guinea-Bissau or in India or somewhere else. Is it possible to get some kind of customers there, or I'm so sorry to question to talk about this one here.
No, I think we can do it since we are out here in the networking section. Guinea-Bissau is a small market,
Okay, thank you.
limited. Vous voulez parler en français?
Oui, il n'y a pas de problème.
Ok.
D'accord, donc je disais que je reprends ma question.
Oui, oui. Mais je vous comprends.
Ok,
Et
donc,
pour vous répondre,
ah ok,
Guinée-Bissau, c'est une
d'accord,
petite
ok,
marché.
je dis,
Voilà, donc
d'accord,
je vois pas
mais
grande
en fait,
possibilité en Guinée-Bissau. Mais en Inde, vous pouvez contacter l'ambassade de l'Inde
ok,
à Abidjan. Il y aura un secrétaire, un
d'accord,
officier consulaire attaché commercial. Et il peut vous mettre en
oui,
contact avec plusieurs personnes et plusieurs sociétés et industries en Inde. Vous pouvez
ok,
contacter aussi Cashew,
d'accord,
les organisateurs de ce programme. Eux, ils ont beaucoup de connaissances
oh,
en Inde, ainsi de suite.
oh, ok, d'accord. Merci beaucoup.
Je
Merci
vous en
bien.
prie. Je vous en prie.
Hmm.
So thank you so much.
Mais Madame Poto, pourriez-vous laisser votre contact là pour qu'on fait le plus d'échanges après le séminaire?
Ok, je le laisse sur la plateforme ici en même temps direct, c'est ça?
Ouais, c'est ça.
Ok, je laisse mon email et mon numéro WhatsApp. C'est
Ok,
bon?
merci.
Ok, ça marche. Je vous en prie. Merci.
Ouais.
So one question from Veena Bajaria. Is it true that we have to pay 1,000 tons duty to obtain export license?
This was the rule up to last year. But this year, given the current market conditions, we are not sure if the government will insist on this rule or no. But till last year, yes, this was the rule.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I think no more questions. Any other questions from the delegates? I think we'll stop here. We'll come to the end of the session. Once again, many thanks to Mr. John Rao, sir,
Welcome.
for
Always-
answering the questions in an elaborate manner. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Hello?
My pleasure.
Yes.
Hello?
Madam, you can place the questions in his email ID is given. Mr.
Okay.
John Rao's email ID is there. You
Okay,
can
good.
message to him. So he will be in there to
Okay.
answer all those queries. Those who have
Okay.
missed out, you can send a mail to them. He will answer the queries.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Mhm.